Leftist liberals hate him, atheists despise him, evolutionists and socialists fear him. Certain other talk show hosts are jealous of him. The White House administration knows who he is, but this is why you listen to Carl. Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio.
All right, welcome back, Gulf Coast. Welcome back, America. You are listening to Freedom Friday. Carl Gallups with you this afternoon. Brandon Big B is in the house with us, co-hosting, and, of course, Mallory Bardwell, your world-famous producer. In this segment, we're going to bring on Mike Shoesmith, good dear friend of mine, also the executive director of the ppsimmons News and Ministry Network, also a syndicated blogger and an author, a published author, and a radio and television commentator, and he's been with Freedom Friday, I guess, ever since our inception here years ago. And Mike, it's always good to have you. Thank you for being with us today.
Hey, you know, when Carl Gallups hands over the microphone to a subordinate, especially with an enormous guest like the general there, I can't help but wonder if he isn't being groomed for something. You know, like maybe his own show.
Well, you can never tell. You notice. I tried to get the microphone back, and the two of them wouldn't let me talk, man. No, I'm kidding. I didn't.
He does a good job. You know,
yeah,
I think he's got the voice.
He does.
The voice. Hey,
he does.
Hey, listen.
Hey, but wait. Before you go any further, I know where you're going to go, but I got to ask you: did you see this about Obama in the East Room of the White House yesterday, introducing? He was talking about Aretha Franklin, and he misspelled the word respect. And didn't even know he misspelled it. Did you see that?
No. You missed that completely. He has officially, by dictate, changed the spelling of that word.
That's right. I missed it.
Well, then it's fine then.
Well,
as long as he can explain how he came up with the wrong spelling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something else that Carl Gallups will be able to do when he's elected president.
Well, that's true. That's something else I'll be able to do. Well, no, yeah. And so here's what happened. I'm going to read this right out. It's a paragraph. It says, quote. Now, he's talking. He's in the East Room. It says, when Aretha first told us what RSPECT meant to her, end quote. And then it said, Obama said this before the audience in the East Room, and then they erupted into laughter because, see, they caught that he had misspelled it. But he continued. He kept going. She had no idea it would become a rallying cry for African Americans. See, he's always got to talk about that race thing. And women, and then everyone who felt marginalized, there's that left-wing word, because of what they looked like or who they loved. They wanted some respect. That was Obama, and he misspelled the words when Aretha first told us what RSPECT meant. And everybody else there died laughing. He never got it, you know. Remember what they did?
Well,
go ahead.
Well, you know what they did to George W. Bush when he misspoke on nuclear.
And Dan Quayle and any, if a Republican did that, it'd be headline news playing continual loop on CNN.
Well, they're all buffoons, the Republicans, when they do it. But when Obama does it, he has just redefined. He has just reestablished. He's reestablished the very spelling of the dictionary.
He's the Messiah.
Well, y'all are just racist for questioning the way he spelled something.
Listen,
come on, guys.
I'm not a racist. I'm trying to give due respect to the Messiah. You know, this is
you're doing God's work.
I'm doing God's work. Listen, that's what he said. That's what his wife, Michelle, said. Michelle Obama said that, if you're dealing with Obamacare, you're doing God's work. Both of them said that.
Yeah.
Listen, she may be exactly right.
Well, yeah. When you help him spread the message, you're doing God's work. So come on, Carl.
What did you say, Brandon?
I said she and he both may be exactly right. They may be doing God's work.
Hey, if we're living in the prophetic days that we think, God could be using them. Brother.
Mike, I set you up there, brother.
I know.
Well, let's bring the kite back down to the ground here and get real for a second, shall we?
Yeah, let's talk about what America would look like in 2016 if Romney was
the president. Hey, you ever
wonder
that? Hey, if Mitt Romney had won in 2012, what America would look like in 2016? I think we have an example here in Michigan of what America would look like, and the world, in fact, would look like if Barack Obama had lost in 2012 and Mitt Romney had won. Now, people will say, well, Mitt Romney, he's a Mormon. Why would you endorse a Mormon? Well, the same reason, there is no, we've talked about this, we have talked about this ad nauseum, that there is no religious test to be president.
That's right.
Right?
No, that's what the Constitution says.
Romney, given the choices we had, was the best choice. And here's why. Romney, now you guys know how I feel about lawyers. Romney's not a lawyer, right?
Right.
And he what is he? He's a successful businessman, right?
Right.
Now here's what happened in Michigan. Now Michigan is sort of a microcosm example of what we could superimpose what happened in Michigan to the country as a whole, I think, because what happened in Michigan was it was run by a liberal Democrat named Jennifer Granholm. She's a Canadian, by the way, so she might be running for president next. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
She's a Canadian. Yeah, Jennifer Granholm ran Michigan into the ground.
Right.
In fact, this will amaze you. In fact, Frank Beckman, he's a radio morning host out of Detroit, and he interviewed people. I'll never forget this. People were actually proposing selling Michigan to the Chinese, just to keep Michigan solvent. Michigan was on the verge of bankruptcy as a state, and this was Jennifer Granholm drove that state into the toilet, destroyed it. It was an amazing thing to watch. I live near Detroit, near Michigan, near the border with Michigan, and it was amazing to hear day after day the constant malaise coming out of Michigan. It was amazing, and here's just an example of the dire straits they were in. Think about the vastness of Canada. Canada is 33% larger than the United States, right?
Right.
Canada, the vastness of Canada. We only have 10% of the population of the United States, right? Think about this. The number one industry during when the car industry fell apart in Michigan, the number one industry in Michigan was importing garbage from Canada. Our garbage, Carl.
Wow.
Our garbage was crossing the border into Michigan landfills. This was their number one industry. Garbage, right?
Yeah.
Under a liberal Democrat governor, Jennifer Granholm. Granholm was very tight with Obama. She was on the Obama election committee. She was one of the people who pretended to be a female contender. She pretended to be Hillary, for example, in debate practicing. When they were practicing debates, she would go and pretend to be Hillary in the debate. She helped Obama get elected.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when she was finally term limited out 5 years ago. And who was elected? Rick Snyder was elected. What is Rick Snyder? Rick Snyder is not a lawyer. Rick Snyder is a businessman. Now, don't forget that Mitt Romney is from Michigan, right?
Right.
So there we have that connection. Now, Rick Snyder is a businessman. Today, 5 years later, he's in his fifth year as governor of Michigan. There is a row, a dispute going on in the headlines in Michigan today. You know what it's about? It's about what to do with all the surplus money they have in Michigan. They're debating whether to. They're actually talking about giving money back to the taxpayers in Michigan.
That's a nice problem to have.
Well, listen. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us that in 2012, America had the opportunity to kick the lawyers out of the Oval Office. My goodness. Now, we have talked about this in the past, how the lawyers are responsible for destroying the country and, I think, destroying the world. Lawyers are responsible for the cost of health care being so high, the cost of insurance being so high, pricing the middle class out of the insurance markets, and thereby causing a need for reform. And, I have said before that the best reforms that could cause health insurance rates to become affordable is not healthcare reform, because America already has the best healthcare system on the planet. I know from firsthand personal experience that America has the best healthcare system on the planet. The kind of reform required to fix the insurance issue is tort reform, to fix the litigious society syndrome that exists in America, where the smallest inconvenience gets the biggest payday.
Right.
And this has become such a huge problem in America that people are looking to retire at the age of 30 because they spill hot water on themselves. Coffee is by definition hot. That has given rise to, because at the end of the day, McDonald's and Walmart and all these people, somebody slips and falls in Walmart, they get $3 million. Walmart doesn't pay for that.
Right.
At the end of the day, their insurance company pays for that. Their slip and fall insurance, or what are they all? They insurance for everything. So when there's a claim like that, the insurance company goes, okay, we'll pay out to this person, but guess what, Walmart, we're going to up your rates just a little bit. And then the next time, just a little bit more. And the next time, just a little bit more. Until eventually insurance companies, the costs are so high that it's spread out all over the industry, and everybody's forced to pay higher and higher and higher rates to the point where nobody can afford it anymore.
And then who does Walmart pass those higher rates on to?
You and I, through the price of their goods and services. Yep.
That's right, and that's why it can be accurately stated that no corporation pays taxes, because at the end of the day, when the Democrats go after big corporations,
right,
like big this and big that, and they say, well, these people are these big oil and all these people, they're all making trillions of dollars a year. Why is that fair? We have to tax them. Well, at the end of the day, a corporate tax rate hike is a personal tax rate hike.
Yes.
Because when we go in to buy gas, when we go in to buy this and that, whatever, we're paying the taxes that the government has enforced on corporations.
Right.
I mean, this is basic economics 101.
Well,
and the Democrats are using the high cost of insurance to take over the healthcare system. These lawyers taking over the healthcare system and using it. Some people are saying they're using it to bring about a single payer system wherein the government converts the healthcare system from the best healthcare system in the world to a rationed healthcare system.
Well,
wherein people like my son has to see a neurologist because he suffered a concussion recently. He has to wait a month to see a neurologist.
Right.
Now, can you imagine having to wait a month to see a neurologist in the United States? Never happened.
No, it wouldn't. And another part of Economics 101 is that corporations, the evil corporations, they are not an entity unto themselves. Corporations are owned by people.
Yes.
And people invest in them through the stock market. And many people have their retirement funds tied up in the profits of corporations. And people don't even know that. I mean, a lot of Democrats and liberals who are invested in retirement funds, a lot of those retirement funds are invested in Wall Street stocks and bonds and in mutual funds, and a lot of those are composed of corporations, which are beholden to their stockholders to make lots of money, so that then the profits are passed on to the stockholders, et cetera, et cetera. People don't understand this, and the liberals have been getting away with it for years, talking about the evil corporations. And as you said, the corporation's not going to pay any taxes. Oh, on paper they do. They owe this amount of tax, or their insurance rates have gone up because they've made these amounts of claims. But at the end of the day, like you've so brilliantly stated, the corporations are going to pass those costs on to the consumers.
Well, that's exactly right, and they do have to make money for their investors, and by doing that, they can't pay the taxes, so they have to pass the cost on to the consumers. And, people just need an education on this, and hopefully we've enlightened some people to the truth about this stuff. But at the end of the day, when we look at Michigan, we see what a successful businessman can do with an entity like Michigan. And Mitt Romney, he was well set to move in and move the country into a profitable situation. Right. Perhaps deal with some tort reform.
Listen, Mike, that's a brilliant point. If we could look at Michigan, we might see what Romney might have done with America. That's a great microcosmic illustration. Mike, we got to take a quick time out. We'll come back with you in a moment. Folks, you're listening to Freedom Friday on this beautiful Friday afternoon along the Gulf Coast, and I hope it's beautiful wherever you are. God bless you for listening this afternoon. We'll be right back with more of Carl Gallups, Brandon Gallups, and Mike Shoesmith.